There's a lot of work to be done. And that is where we begin our work tonight with Scott MacFarlane, an investigative reporter for our station NBC4 in Washington, joining us from our Washington bureau. So, Scott, what is standing in the way right now of getting that procedural vote on Wednesday, as Senator Schumer has said he wants?
Yeah, Joshua, you described that narrow landing strip. It's getting smaller and smaller. Days are running out before the August recess. Just a handful remain. And after that August recess, Congress really has to move focus to other things, like keeping the government open, passing spending bills, getting the debt ceiling raised. So there's a finite amount of time to get this infrastructure deal done. And perhaps that's why Majority Leader Schumer has said he'll have a test vote next week, which means we could see a vote before we see a bipartisan infrastructure bill. Remains to be seen whether that mobilizes both parties this weekend during negotiations or whether that breaks down negotiations. I've talked to congressional staff throughout the weekend. They say there is a path, Joshua. It's just far from clear whether there are the votes.
What about the $3.5 trillion infrastructure plan? And we should be clear, this would not be $3.5 trillion today. This would be $3.5 trillion over years and years. But even still, what about the lifespan of that one? That's still got a long ways to go too.
That was going to require weeks as well, and that involves getting one party in lockstep, and that's a big challenge. And not just in the Senate. I've got congressional staffers telling me in the U.S. House there is this year-long balance of ensuring the progressives and the moderates are on board with everything. Leave infrastructure aside. They're whipping votes this week on the annual spending bills that are taken up later in the month. Usually one party is on board with the annual spending bills. They're whipping that. So a reconciliation, an infrastructure bill, it's a much taller mountain to climb.
As for voting rights, we know that there were a number of groups that met with Vice President